do one of those cool kid things where you just, you start the recording early and you can hear in the whatever in case we want to throw it in there, and if we don't, we don't. But
yeah, the intro of Andy Elliott.
Yeah. Like the Ballad of Ricky Bobby. This is the way you said that. The intro of Andy Elliott.
Intro of Andy Elliott. Yeah, I started a new sales job tomorrow, and my biggest nightmare is that Andy Elliott's going to show up and make me take my shirt off in front of everybody. It'd be very shameful.
Tell you you're fat and you're not taking care of yourself and what's wrong with you.
Yeah. It's like, no wonder your wife left you. No wonder your dog makes all this noise. No wonder your kids hate you. Yeah.
No wonder.
You're not showing up. You're showing up fat. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to episode 2 of, I think we just named it, Pardon My Growth.
Yeah.
Second runner-up was Sorry You Had to See Me Grow.
Which
Sorry You Had to See that.
That one makes me laugh more, but it's just too long.
Yeah.
It's just not tidily. But Pardon My Growth. It's 3 words. It's like, okay, that's just clearly the better title.
Yeah. It'll be Pardon My Growth and like subtaxes.
Yeah.
Sorry you had to see that.
Sorry you had to see that.
And we're just talking about the personal development growth of each other and bringing each other up, and then
it could be
remembering the awkward times.
It could be the it's like those song titles that have a parenthetical. So it'd be like Pardon My Growth, and then it just in parentheses, sorry you had to see that or something.
Yeah. Like the Oasis, the Bittersweet Symphony or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
All right. So episode 2 of Pardon My Growth.
Mm-hmm.
We got Zach and Matt here. So I guess there's a few things that happened this last week in the Eastern Iowa comedy scene.
Yeah.
Comedy Bar in Dubuque shut down, I believe. And then Lucky Cat was no more. That was last week, but it was the first open mic at Iowa Brewing Company. That was pretty fun. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was an interesting change up going from like the dim lighting of like the small club to like this like more well lit like just brewery. It's just kind of like it's like a restaurant vibe, almost whatever. Although kind of like a cafe vibe too, because they had those couches and stuff. So it's kind of interesting.
Like 4 lime green couches.
Yeah,
it's a cool setup.
Yeah, I like. You know what? Actually, what it was like with the couches, it kind of reminds me of some sets I've seen, like on it'd be like if a band playing on like a talk show thing, right?
Yeah.
And then like some of the like hosts of the show, maybe it's like some of the people that probably, I don't know, either won a contest or they paid a lot of money to be able to sit right up front or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of like one of those setups almost.
Yeah, like a little tiny desk.
Yeah, sure. Something like that.
I think those are the worst seats though ever.
Yeah,
like right up front.
Yeah,
I know at a few of the open mics and shows and stuff like that, sometimes I get stuck up front.
Yeah,
and it's just so painful because you have to like fake laugh the entire time.
Yeah,
it's like not fake laugh, but
you have to feel. You're aware that you're like one of the heavyweights in the audience. Like you got to kind of help carry the show with your laughing. And so like if something's mildly funny and you have a slight impulse to kind of laugh, but you wouldn't really have otherwise laughed, you kind of like, I should probably let this one fly a little more than I might have normally.
Yeah, that's very.
Otherwise,
hard to
it's
do.
awkward. Yeah,
it's because it's like I've heard the joke so many times, but like the first time I heard it was funny. Yeah, then it's like, okay, I've seen this guy like 5 times already saying the same 5 jokes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, now I gotta laugh.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I like when people do it for me, so it's nice. But
yeah,
it's I never. I always just have this like fake permanent smile the entire time on my face when I'm sitting there. So
yeah,
I try and try and get there on time, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't want to make Andy Elliott mad. So
no, you don't want to do that. That's the wrong move.
Yeah, Iowa Brewing Company was a lot of fun. And then we did Penguins open mic Thursday. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
At the Ideal Theater in Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, that was super fun. That was like I remember backstage right before I went up, I was telling Karen, I was like, this is like more of a show like vibe than most like shows that I've ever have been on, and it's an open mic. Like it's very weird to like be backstage and feel like this is like a real show, but it's just an open mic. I don't know, it's kind of, I'm starting to realize that like the distinction of like open mic versus show is kind of silly in a way sometimes. Like as far as like your own mental preparedness, it doesn't make sense to really make much of a distinguishment. I mean, like obviously if you're doing like a show that you're being paid for, you probably want to like, you got to deliver what you were booked to deliver. So, you would, fill whatever time that is, and you want to like do your best stuff. You don't want to like try something risky that is untested or whatever. But like, as far as like, I don't know, other than that, it's just kind of like, I don't know, every mic, every show is all a show, right? You're putting on a show. And so like something like that where there's this theater bar place and like everyone's, packed house and everyone's there to have a good time. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it may as well be a show, right? It's a show. I think of it as like, it's a show that like some other people were able to get on that wouldn't normally necessarily be booked on a show, right? Like it's like a show, but then there's some extra people that are like, hey, can I get in on this almost, But it's like, it's not, I don't know. I think it's a mistake to think of it as an open mic because it's like, well, hang on. This is like a nice crowd ready to go. Like you should come with your A game, but just be like aware that like you have some room to like you have some room to like play around and try stuff too because it is a mic, but like I don't know. Maybe it's more useful to think of it as like there's like really serious like show, like big shows, and then there's like more casual shows, but like think of everything as a show, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I can yeah. I mean, it seems like Joystick tonight is open mic for sure. Kind of a show.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Thursday did not feel like it. I just always get in my head like the distinction might be people at open mics aren't there. They're there because they know somebody there, it seems.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like almost, again, I've only done 2 or 3 actual shows, or if you count Penguins as a show.
Sure, yeah.
I'd say like 2 or 3 like that.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. The one at anyways, but yeah, it seems like it's harder to get an open mic crowd on your side.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's they're not necessarily, they're not really engaged, but like at a show, people pay to be there. It's an exciting thing. They're waiting for it.
Yeah, yeah.
An open mic might be like 12 people at one table, but it's for one person.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think maybe what I'm starting to recognize too, I'm just assuming I didn't actually order any drinks or anything there, but I'm guessing the Ideal Theater, it felt more like mid to upscale. It wasn't like obviously it's not like a dive bar type of thing, right? So it's like, it seems like probably you're going to have like a better audience. This sounds terrible, but like typically you're going to have a better audience if you go somewhere, if you hold a show or a mic or whatever at a venue that has more like expensive stuff that's more upscale. Because so it's like you don't have to, like, there's 2 ways I guess you can do it, right? If you can get people to a place and they're paying like a reasonable entry fee ticket price, like of $20 or whatever to get in, or you can go to like an upscale place and like they can get in for free or pay, but like it's upscale, and that's just going to like, feels like it's going to weed out the people that like would just be going to get drunk and like don't really give a shit. And it's like the people that are going, like, they want to have an experience. They don't want to just like go and have drinks and whatever. They want to like have a full night.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, it seems like Cedar Rapids has a very different scene than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Than Dubuque or Iowa City, obviously.
Yeah.
Cedar Rapids seems like a lot of people that have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
That all know each other. And I don't know if they go away and then come back. Like, I don't know their whole story or anything like that. But
yeah,
that's what it kind of seems like it.
Yeah, it probably stems from Penguins having been there for so long.
True. That too.
As like that probably, yeah, I'm sure that like contributed to like developing this scene. Yeah, because it does seem like most of the people that I know in the scene that like I think of in my head as like vets or like, people that are like have been doing it for a while compared to me, like pretty much most of those people like went to Penguins when that was around. It like, so it's like, that kind of like fostered probably this this community of people. Like I know, I guess it's funny because Brody I think lives in Cedar Rapids, but sometimes for some reason I'll think of him as an Iowa City guy because like I'll see him all the time in Iowa City, but then sometimes not as much in Cedar Rapids. So it just depends. I mean, yeah. I don't know. He goes through phases of like being certain places and other versus other places or whatever maybe. But no, I remember talking to Brody one time and he was talking about how like I think he worked at Penguins and did comedy there. I don't remember what he did at Penguins. I don't remember if he bartended or if he did like door stuff or whatever. But I remember he worked at Penguins and he said that like that it was like really it was really like, I don't know, there was like a strong influence on him, like the like comedians that would come through and like they would kind of like give him advice or like tell him like like I don't know, like there's like two ways you can approach like the open mic scene in comedy, and you can approach it just like casually, just like just going to a mic, whatever, and you can approach it like, hey, I'm trying to get good at this thing or whatever. And I think like sometimes you need like people coming through that have been doing it for a long time that are like professionals to say like, hey, like this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. But like you're on the right path, like you just gotta keep grinding, like keep doing this thing. Like you need like a little encouragement or something, right? And it seems like Penguins kind of provided, it sounds like a place to kind of receive that. You get someone like Doug Stanhope or whoever coming through, you know, someone's been around for a long time, you know, kind of pick their brain a little bit. And yeah, it's like, and Lucky Cat was kind of, felt like it was that a little bit, or like it had the potential to be that before it closed down. Like it was kind of, it was kind of making its way there.
It was just starting. Right?
Yeah.
Like the last couple of years or whatever. Like I think it started when Penguins shut down, right?
Pretty much. I mean, well, it's so...
Or it was Thew, but...
Yeah, it was Thew. I know that, because when I started, it was April of 2022, and then I know that like fall of 2021-ish, that was when Joystick like rebranded to Joystick from...
Yacht Club?
Yeah, Yacht Club, thank you. And that's when they rebranded to Joystick. Because I know that because I found... Because I was looking around, I think in late 2021, I was like, I'm going to start doing comedy. And the only place I knew in the area was Penguins, and they were closed. But then like their Facebook page kept hinting at like a reopening, and they were talking about like new owners, whatever. And so I remember I sent like, actually I'm gonna bring this up on my phone because I'll have it on here. I sent some messages to them trying to like, I don't know, ask them like, hey, what's the status, blah blah blah, like what's, are you guys, and it just became apparent to me that it just wasn't gonna happen. And then I remember like just Googling, being like, there's got to be some other places or whatever. And then I found Joystick, and then I went there, and I found Joystick because I found like an article talking about how they had rebranded or whatever. I was like, oh, this is in Iowa City. Oh, okay, I could go to Iowa City. Yeah, here we go. August 15th of 2021 at 8:25 p.m. I said, is there an update on when you guys will reopen? And they said, not yet. Liquor license is applied for, waiting. And I gave them a thumbs up reaction. Nothing else, right? And then like months happened where I was like wanted to do comedy, but like didn't know where to go. And I kept kind of checking in on Penguins, like on their page, seeing if there was updates, never saw any. So fast forward all the way to April 5th of 2022. And I said, LOL, any updates yet? I'm just starting stand-up, did my first open mic last night, and would love to have another club to go to, especially because I live in Cedar Rapids. And then almost 2 weeks later, on April 20th, they say, nothing yet. Hopefully we'll have new owners soon. And then I thumbs up reaction to that, and then I never sent another message. And I was like, I just gave up on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like
Then he basically Shane Gillis it and came back and opened up for the open mic, right?
Yeah, basically.
Or the show.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But
what were you gonna say?
Yeah. I don't know what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's a dead end.
No, that's all
cool.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Penguins must have been around for a while then too.
Yeah. They were. I mean, probably for decades, right?
I imagine. Yeah.
I think. Yeah. They were around for a pretty long time. I think it was kind of an older club. I mean, not like a really old club, but I think they were around for a pretty good while. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what comedians, like bigger comedians, say about Iowa's scene, because they have to know some of the, I'm sure a lot of them come through Penguins. I'm sure it's like it's almost like a farm system, isn't it? Like in baseball, it's almost like the single, double, triple A's. Like
right,
you start looking at it like that, and then it's like you gotta go through Penguins and all the like equal size Penguins clubs all around.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. Would Teehees be similar?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's like I definitely there is some sort of farming system going on where it's like it's basically like there's like I don't know, I'd say like there's like probably I don't know what, like 3 general like tiers of like clubs maybe, where like the C tier would be just like Joystick or somewhere where it's like a bar, maybe a comedy club ish, but it's like just some small
coffee shop or something like that.
Yeah, exactly, like something Tuesdays, like that.
Yeah.
And then a B tier would be probably like a Lucky Cat, probably a Teehees, yada yada yada. Penguins probably would have been like a B tier or something. And then there's like the A tier, which would be like the Funny Bone and like these bigger like clubs that like regularly book like pretty big acts that come through all the time.
Then you almost go up to like theaters, like the Engler.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Once you so you can like the top of the club game is basically like regularly like touring and headlining A tier clubs.
Okay, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Like Zanies or something is still a club.
Yeah.
Okay, the Funny Bone's a club. But,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking something else. Yeah.
And then from there, yeah, if you like outgrow that, then yeah, you're just like you have a fan base that's large enough that you can actually sell out or mostly sell out like theaters, and then you move into that whole game, and then the psychos that somehow can get through all of that, they end up going to arenas eventually, which doesn't even make sense to me for comedy, but I don't know. It's just it's crazy world. But
we're also trying to dissect the comedy scenes as we're growing in it.
Yeah,
I'm sure we're gonna be wrong, and I'm sure we'll look back at a lot of stuff we say and say that's stupid.
I can't wait to be wrong though. That's the best thing. I love being wrong and in like retrospect, like seeing how wrong I was about something, because then, pardon my growth here, but that's, it shows that I've grown. It shows that there's, I've gone places. It's a fun feeling.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I like how you said that.
Yeah.
Because you think something's so true, and then all of a sudden it just gets shattered. And then in comedy, it seems like, I'm sure it's like anything else where it just gets shattered immediately, but it's like one of those things where you pick to go out on this path, and then all of a sudden you think like, oh my God, I killed it at Joystick one day. Then you're like, I am no doubt the funniest person in the world. Then you go like a Lucky Cat and you bomb, and it's like, oh shit. Maybe I was funny at Joystick for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Lucky Cat. And then it's like, but it's this constant going back and forth and stuff like that.
So, yeah. It's just constant like oscillating between like feeling like a total like boss, and then just feeling like the lowest rung possible of like, people may as well be a doormat. People may as well walk on me because I'm so bad or whatever. Yeah.
It's like, what the hell have I been doing for the last 6 months? It's like, just going to open mics like 3 nights a week. It's like, damn.
No, I was gonna say like, there's definitely like a farming system though, like you were saying, where it's like, it seems like, so like headliners will come through to like A clubs, and they'll see like some people there, but like they probably like, I don't know, most of the time they already I think either know, like they'll obviously know like the management and like some of the staff there if they've come through there a bunch of times before, right? And then like there might be like I don't know, there might be some comics that like have had some success and are like have been booked at that A tier club before as like an opener or as a host or something, and then like they'll like the headliners will like see these people. And like that's like one way that they might like find somebody, right? But I think what actually happens a lot of the times is like it'll be at like some of the more respectable like B tier clubs. That's where like headliners will meet like people they've never met before. They're like, oh, this person's really funny. Like I don't know who this person is, because the people that like they don't know who they are, they're not going to be in the A rooms, right? Like, because they just haven't, that's why they don't know who they are. Like, they haven't gotten to that level yet.
Right.
And so, like, they'll come through and do a couple, like, B rooms. This will usually be probably, like, a newer headliner. So someone who's been around for a while, and they're very good, and they are known, but they're not, like, the biggest names in comedy. They're just, like, they're, like, fresh, new headliners that are, like, recent years they started doing well, right?
Yeah, and like Sam Talent.
Yeah,
he came through, I think, a year or two ago at Lucky Cat, right? So
yeah, and so they'll come through like B rooms, they'll see just total unknowns, right? People that have just popped up in the last 6-7 years that like haven't quite hit that level yet, but they like and they haven't seen them yet, and then they'll see that person and be like, oh shit, this person's really funny, whatever, and then sometimes they'll be invited to like go on the road with them. But a lot of times, like, it's weird though, like, because you have to have like I think you have to pass a couple. I don't know. I'm totally talking my ass right now, but I think what happens probably is like you have to like establish contact, and then like they're not going to necessarily take you on the road the next time, right? They're not going to be like, oh yeah, that guy was funny, let's just take him on the road, right? Because the other like big thing in comedy is like nobody wants to take someone on the road that they don't know that well.
Yeah.
Like, because it'd just be weird. Yeah. Like, they want to be around people that they know really well and have a good time. So I think what happens is, like, you know, they come through a couple times, see this same person, see them growing and see how funny they are. Maybe they get to know them a little bit in the green room, something, right? And then eventually, like, after a while of talking, they, like, you know, maybe a couple years later, they're like, I know this guy's funny.
Yeah.
Let me take him with me or something. And that's how, like, sometimes people, I think, can end up in, like, those opportunities. Although I think that's probably, I could be wrong, but I get the sense that that's like not a rarity, but like that's like not common for like headliners to just like pluck somebody out and be like, hey, you should come on the road with me. Like I think that that's usually like an exceptional thing where like, oh, this person's murdering. This person's really, really funny. And I know them a little bit now because I've talked to them a bunch of times, you know, whatever.
Sounds like an uncle story or something like that.
Yeah.
You hear your uncle talking about her, like he had a friend or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't seem like it would happen too much, especially because everybody records their stuff and puts it on the internet for the reels and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to I want to learn more about that. You know, the thing that I just talked through my ass about. I want to learn more about that, like in the modern world, because I know that like I've heard lots of stories about like how it is from a bunch of different people, but like these are like people that have been around for a while talking about how it has been. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, but comedy's changed a lot since then. So like, I don't know if that's actually how it is right now, like contemporary. I think it might be different. And I'm not at a level yet where I can see enough to know what the new kind of metas are of comedy, like how that actually, how the business like works now, other than like the obvious thing like you're talking about, where I obviously see that like people pop off from clips online and whatever, but as far as like the business end of things, like in person, like in the clubs and all this stuff, like I don't really know like how people are connecting and getting out there other than online stuff now currently. Yeah, I don't know. So
yeah,
be interesting.
I think it's either through like friendships or through social justice stuff. Like the more left you get, the more left everybody else gets. There's like seems like that's always been a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Then he kind of like divvy into two different ways too. Mm-hmm. I guess I don't know. That's why I kind of see comedy as, was it alt comics and comics?
Oh sure,
like alt comic. Yeah. There's like the alt, and then but everybody else is alt except for the alt comic. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to see that. I also started thinking of everything like poke gyms or something like that.
Oh sure.
Like every club is a gym.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, there's a lot of people that only just go to one club, and that's their main club. That's their home club.
Yeah.
I don't really have a home club because I kind of go around. Yeah. And then I don't know. You'd say you had a home club either.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I like, for a while there, I like kind of considered Joystick my home club just because like that's the place I feel really comfortable at or whatever, and this is where I first went up. But then like Lucky Cat kind of became my like home club in a way too, and then it also makes more sense to call it my home club because it's like in the town I live too. So it's like so it's like I don't know. It's like I kind of considered both of those to be kind of like vying for that spot of like whatever my home club is or something. But now that Lucky Cat had closed, and then it's like, I don't know. I guess now that, I guess that answers it. Right now, like my home club, if anything, would be Joystick, I guess. It's kind of it's a small starter home. It's very small
maybe.
Starter. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But then you start wondering, like, what like Catacombs when that was happening, could that be a home club then too, kind of like a home show?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like how that could be, because I don't know. That's where it also separates too, right? Because you don't do clubs, then you do your own show,
right?
Like you start producing your own stuff, and I think that's what a lot of the comics that go away that come back start doing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool while that was lasting. What Tom did, that was like, because it was kind of interesting to see. And it was kind of funny to watch, like from the inside of what was going on there a little bit, like being around that scene the whole time, or most of the time, and then kind of like looking at like the other comics and the other people in my scene, kind of they're looking at it from the outside because they're not really going, or they don't know a lot about what's going on. But it's funny that they would hear little snippets about like people being booked and like stuff happening. And I don't know, I got the sense that people were like, they weren't like totally hating on it, but they kind of were like, I could kind of sense this like friction where it's like, because a lot of people didn't like Tom. There's all this history, people shit on Tom, and because they say, you know, all these stories about how much he pissed them off one time, whatever, and then he goes away, right? And everyone's like, ooh, Mr. Big Shot, he's, you know, trying to take all this stage time, whatever. He goes away, meets a bunch of people, does a bunch of stuff in Vegas. Coronavirus hits, he comes back, and then he starts producing some stuff here. And people are like, oh, that guy, whatever. But like, I think there was a moment there where I think some people had a moment of recognition where like, that fucking guy. But then also they like couldn't say anything, or they couldn't do anything because they were like, also he's kind of showing us up right now, right? He's like booking big acts and like this stuff is happening or whatever. It's like he's like pulling strings and like doing stuff that like some of them couldn't even do. And then, but he's just doing it in his own venue and whatever. And I think, but what I don't know.
Tom's just like, sorry, you had to see me grow earlier.
Yeah, basically. But I don't know.
That's what it takes too. Is if you mess up, up, you learn from it. And then
right.
I mean, I've always had positive interactions with him.
Same. That's what I tried to tell people. When that was all starting up and he had that mic going, and people, every time the name would be brought up, people were like, oh, Tom Garland, and then, but like, yeah, I was like, whenever people talk to me about him, I mean, I legit, like, I'm not going to name any names, but like, I had some people reach out to me almost like as a warning. They're like, hey, be careful with this guy, like, he's whatever. And I'm like, okay, like, respectfully, like, I get what you're saying. I'm glad. I feel appreciated. I seen and heard that you and respected that you're looking out for me and you're giving me that heads up. But also, every interaction I've had with this guy has been extremely positive. He's given me opportunities. There's nothing bad I could possibly say about him because I've not had any bad experience. So it's like, I think that like, yeah, pardon his growth, right? He's like, how many times are we gonna shove that in there? Yeah. So many times, dude. But
it's just such a good cop out for anything. It's like,
oh yeah.
Oh, last time I saw you, like blackout drunk, puking on the floor, like a high school party, whatever it is.
Right.
It's like, well, sorry, you had to see me grow.
Yeah.
Now I'm sober, or whatever it might be.
Yeah. So. But like, it's like, it is kind of, I think it is there's this weird thing where we live in this world where so many people get jaded by all this crazy shit happening, and like people are assholes to them, and they're like, fuck you. And there's all this contention. And I think sometimes people forget, like, it is possible. It is a real thing where some people do bad things, or they like are kind of an asshole, and then they grow and change, and they actually can become better people. Yeah. Like that does actually happen. So, and to my mind, as far as I've ever seen, it feels like Tom very much is an embodiment of that kind of thing, where it's like he had, there was a lot of friction. He kind of feels like he climbed on top of people and did whatever he had to do, scrapped his way to make it out of this scene and like go somewhere. And then he successfully did. I mean, he went to Vegas and was like, performing with like bigger acts and all this stuff and doing stuff, making things happen. I mean, I'm not trying to make any claims that he like, whatever. I'm not trying to say that he like, he won the game or whatever, but he did well. He went and he got out of the scene, and then he came back. And there's this big fall of like the coronavirus, and then like, so it forces him out of the situation of performing. He moves back, whatever. Like he gets kind of knocked down the totem pole a little bit, knocked down some rungs, right? And then he's here, but through this whole journey, he's like grown and he's changed and developed and whatever, and like. But then people just assume the worst. They assume like, oh, there's no way. Like last time I saw this guy, it's like, yeah, but he was gone for a long time. Yeah. And they came, like, you have no idea what happened during that time, right? It's like, if there was someone who was
just got to let that go too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just kind of, when you start thinking about it, they're just kind of like projecting their own insecurity, insecurities, but they're projecting their own anger or whatever towards them on you to make you not like them.
Yeah.
And it's just like this whole thing is supposed to. Yeah. I mean, it's nice for a heads up, but
yeah,
at the same time, it's like people are mature enough that they kind of know what to look for, not to look for sometimes.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I think some people, I've had this experience before in comedy where it feels like some people they'll approach you like, hey, you're new here. Let me explain this to you, or whatever. But then they'll be like talking about some things that, like you said, like it's not just comedy that gives you the perspective to like understand some of the stuff. It's just human stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so at a certain point, it's like, well, hang on, dude. I'm in my 30s. Like, I'm not like, it's not like I'm 19. Like, I've been around for a little while. I do kind of, I think I can figure out, I can notice red flags when I see them. Like, I'm actually a pretty smart guy and I'm reasonably mature at this point. Like, yeah, I think I can figure that out a little bit.
Yeah.
I probably don't need somebody like holding my hand and be like, oh, careful. It's like, I'm good. Like, tell me, like, anything comedy related. Like, I appreciate any of the information. But, like, if you're going to try to tell me, like, hey, just so you know, because I know you might not know, but this guy is like, okay, I'll figure it out myself then. Like, I can I've met people before. Like, I know how to discern, like, assholes from like good people, whatever. Like, this isn't my first rodeo as far as that goes, because that's not a comedy thing. That's a life thing.
Yeah. And you're going to get screwed over once or twice anyways.
It's going to happen.
Like, that's how you learn. That's how you grow up.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how you,
sorry you had to see that.
Yeah. Right. But, well, the one thing I like about Tom too is I remember every single time he'd come in and leave, he'd always say good job, or he'd, say hi.
Yeah.
Which is always nice just to feel welcomed.
Yeah.
Especially a new place, a new scene and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because you can't say that for everywhere. You can't.
Right.
And, you learn to do that maybe through being thrown under the bus or something like that too. You learn.
Right.
You learn that. I don't know. That's why I like Tom.
Yeah. It's like I can't. I think no matter what happens at this point in my comedy career, I will always look back at Tom Garland as like, that guy's a good guy, because he like there's been people like Haley has given me opportunities at Lucky Cat and everything. Like there are people that like give me opportunities, and I appreciate all that. But like Tom was the first guy. Hopefully there'll be other people, but he was the first guy to take someone like me who has not proven themselves whatsoever, just some guy in the open mic scene, saw me doing the work, saw me improving, showing up all the time, being consistent, and then was just like, hey, here's this big show opportunity. Do you want to open for Jackass? Like, that's not something that like most people will do.
Right.
It's just not. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that were it anyone else, literally anyone else but Tom Garland in this scene, if Jackass were coming through at whatever, like, and they were in charge of booking, I don't think I'm getting that slot.
Right.
There's just no way I'm not getting that slot, because, and by the way, I'm not saying I deserve that slot. I'm just saying, like, there are plenty of other people that are funnier than me in this scene that could do that spot and whatever. Right. But I have a lot of respect and love for the fact that he did that intentionally. He did that. He could, and he also could have probably found someone else, but he saw me putting in the work, and he's like, I like this guy. He's funny. He's working on it. I'm just going to push him out there. I'm just going to give him this spot and see what he does. Like, I'm going to give them this opportunity. And so I don't know. You can't, I think it's hard to, from my perspective, it's pretty hard to hate on something like that. It's like, that's a good dude right there.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. He's seen enough cross sections of different, scenes and stuff like that, especially with the cause he used to do comedy with the Jackass scene, right?
Yeah.
So he knows he'd be like a good fit.
He opened for Steve-O a bunch, and I think he opened or maybe hosted. I don't know the exact. No, I think he opened because I think he said something about he was like performing like regularly with them for a little while. Like, I don't know if he went on like a tour with them or something something like that.
So then he was able to see that you would be a good fit for him as opposed to anybody else.
Yeah,
because he's had other big names come through too, and it seems like he's able to like piece the puzzle together.
Yeah, he's able to...
Which you get from leaving the scene, coming back, and
Exactly. Yeah, having that perspective. Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know about anybody else's. This is all like the fun part of it, being new, is that I'm just still walking around the Pokemon Village or wherever, and just like coming to different places. There's different... But it's always easy to... Or I shouldn't say it's easy, but over time you learn, people tell you exactly what you need to know. I don't know if I said that right, but like... the one dude that came to us and said that he's been doing it for 20 years. Like he asked, asked how long I've been doing it.
Yeah.
And I say like, 6 months or something like that. He's like, I've been doing it for 20 years, 36 states. I'm like, okay, well, why is he telling me this? Because he's better than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, would I ever go to like a comic that's been there doing 3 months, tell him like, hey, I've been to like four different open mics. How about you? How long you been doing this for? It's like, no.
Yeah. It's so weird. Yeah.
So it's nice to know that like maybe.
Oh God, that's so.
In my head that person's already feeling insecure. So it's like, okay, I feel like I'm doing well already.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's such a weird thing to me. It's such a weird thing to think about, to take like the biggest stuff you've done so far, or like the amount of time you've been doing it or something, and like flex on people. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know how that could possibly make you look at a lot of the times with the Jackass thing, I will not even like if I'm talking to someone that I don't know, like I'll even avoid mentioning it specifically because like I don't want to look that way. Like there was a guy that was headlining at Lucky Cat. Oh man, I wish I could remember his name right now because I didn't know who he was before then. But I was hosting for him, and he was we were talking before there was like one of those times where like Lucky Cat like ended up filling up reasonably eventually, but like when it was getting close to showtime and like it was pretty empty, and so we're just kind of like, fuck, this is gonna be great, and we're just like talking, and he was we were talking about like opening for people and like show credits and whatever, and I don't remember how it somehow tied in, but I was like, oh yeah, and like I mentioned I referenced the Jackass show, but I was like saying how because I was talking about how it's weird when you get a real credit, like it feels weird, like you feel like you have to like live up to something now because like when it's mentioned or something. But I didn't mention the credit. I just said like, oh yeah, I a while ago I had like my first like finally like my first like real credit that I can put down or mention. And it was weird the first time I was brought up and they mentioned the credit, and I was like, oh, that feels so weird. Like now there's like, I'm not just some random dude now. Now there's like he did this. And so, it's better. The people are like, he better be funny then. I bet he's going to be funny, right? And it's like, well, hopefully.
Yeah.
But
he's part of the Jackass scene.
Yeah.
He's part of the Jackass crew.
But I just mentioned that to him, but I didn't say Jackass. I didn't mention who it was. And then only when he asked me, he was like, oh, he's like, if you don't mind me asking, like, who was the credit? And I was like, oh, it was Jackass. And he's like, oh, cool, whatever. But like, I didn't say it until he asked because I was like, I don't want to be like, yeah, so like, I opened for Jackass because it just sounds so. It makes me look like a jackass, right? It doesn't.
And he's probably telling somebody right now, he's like, that one guy, he wanted me to ask who he opened for. Yeah, he just wanted me to ask the credit. Yeah. There's so many different ways of looking at it that it's like you never, as long as you're consistent. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, I've seen you flex your credits a few times. At Ponchero's that one time, that was pretty funny.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I start thinking about all the times I may have done something similar to that. Not necessarily in comedy, but it's like, oh God.
Yeah.
And it's just you realize, okay, that's all part of it. Like,
yeah.
I was talking to Leaf.
Leif. Yeah.
Okay. Leif. I've always messing his name up. It's Leif.
Leif.
Okay.
Leif licked the
I'll
leaf.
cut all that out.
That's something I've said, but I don't know. It's just some dumb joke I made one time. Anyway.
No, I was talking to him I was like, oh, I just hate when worlds collide because it's like that almost happens where you can tell maybe you get drawn back into something or behavior that you used to do that you don't ever do anymore.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like I don't know. It's almost like family, I guess. Because that's a big family thing. Or just in general. That's why I never get why people like hate their families, but then it's like, okay, now I can see why some people might hate being around their family because they always bring up something that happened 20 years ago or something like that. Just bring them down or something like that. But yeah. But the comedy family is pretty good. It's pretty big. Yeah, it's also funny to see like if you start thinking of the clubs and places as like poke gyms, all the characters that are always at the same poke gym that travel around together at the same gyms.
Right.
So it's always, I don't know, it's fun I start picturing in my head like that almost. Where you just look at Iowa like on a map and then you're like, these comics are from here. These are the comics that run together. These are the ones that are always showing up at the mics together. Like it's, you start picking up or you're starting able to see the not cliques, I want to say, but just groups of people that came up together and stuff like that. So it's always fun to see.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be impossible to break into that Cedar Rapids one, like the guys that have been doing it for like 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like it seems like they're very tight.
Yeah.
Is he part of Penguins then? Is Danny Franks, is he the Donzilla?
No,
is that somebody else?
No, somebody else.
Okay.
No, it's I'm not sure where Tom would fall into all that. I know that Tom he hosted the mic for a long time when it was still Yacht Club, because they had the mic at Yacht Club before it was Joystick. Like they did that.
Yeah.
And he, like, I know he ran that for, like, I don't know how long, but for a considerable amount of time, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if he, like, was at Penguins much or not, or yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know where that connects in, but yeah, there's definitely like a crew of people. We should
have him on. We were talking about that earlier.
Oh yeah,
it'd be fun to.
That'd be cool. That would be cool for sure.
Yeah. So we're just not talking about him.
Yeah. We'll try to get him on that way. He can clarify some of this and actually, like, out of the horse's mouth instead of trying to speak for the horse. I don't know. Didn't make any sense.
All good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just fun to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of see what you got to do and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's all these other shows that just pop up once in a while. Like I want to start going over to like Davenport more and exploring that area, but I also want to start going to Des Moines more.
Yeah.
So I know there's a couple different mics and shows, stuff like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think it's like Teehee's, Java Joe's, and some other place. I only went to one of them when I was there. What was it called? I was next to the burger place, but that was a pretty fun time too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very closed off. I don't know. It's like you can tell when you go up somewhere new and you go up and then all the people leave. Like all the established people leave.
Yeah.
It's like I called it out to the host or something.
Yeah.
I forget what I say. He's like, well, you can come earlier next time. It's like, yeah, that's fine. I wasn't really I don't know. A lot of people just don't like me when they see me.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how I want to say that, but yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's some people are like bad about like welcoming in new people. They're just like, oh, this is like a new person. I'm gonna have to do a whole thing. I'm just not gonna. Then they just like don't or something. I don't know.
Yeah, see if this guy lasts.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. I feel like I always at least try. When I'm like, I don't know, hanging out with people that I know and whatever, and there's some new person like around the corner, kind of like there. I always try to like welcome them in, like give them an opening to say something and talk to them or whatever. Like I don't know. I always try to like, I don't know. I want to not that I'm in any position to do anything useful, but I want to like, I have this mindset of I want to give people like the things that some people have given me. So it's like I'm always looking, trying to like see new people that I haven't like seen much of yet, like pay attention to their comedy, like see what they're doing and see like I want to like keep tabs of people so that like anytime in the future when I have like an opportunity to give people opportunities that I can like remember people, be like, oh, this person's pretty funny, like they've been working hard, like let me throw them a bone. Like Eli is one of those people that like I've seen him and like he's still so new, but like I can see like a lot of the pieces are like I can see that he's like looking for and like finding some of the smaller pieces, and like I can see that there's some potential there. And so like I've been keeping tabs on him so that like the next time that I'm like booking a show, I've only booked a show like one time before, but it's like the next time, whenever that happens, the next time that I have an opportunity to run a show and like book a show or something, that way I can keep tabs on him, and if I think he's got a set together that he can do, I'll
for sure,
tap on him and bring him in or something. Like I want to, and there's like one of the guys, I don't remember his name. There was one of the guys from that comedy class that like had a good set the one time that was pretty funny, and it was like his second time ever on stage, and I was like, oh wow. And so
was it the bigger guy?
Yeah.
Or the tall?
Yeah, he's like kind of think he's
a bouncer somewhere.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Yeah,
that comedy class is funny. Yeah, then he started having the comedy classes pick up, and he's like, "Holy crap! Is this the first time they've ever done this?" Yeah, it's like no, every year they do it. And it's
yeah,
all these like new things that seem so new, but they're not.
Yeah. I feel like this class is a little more relaxed. There's, yeah, the last class that came through, they felt like extra like uptight, liberal.
Oh, really?
Kind of woke, kind of like it felt like I was like walking on eggshells when I was doing comedy around them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just felt like there was like one time where like I did something a little risky and it was like it bombed hard, and they like
At the same
really
time they're like college kids and they go fuck off.
Yeah.
Like that's what the one thing is. There's no equalizer. Like there's an equalizer somehow. Like if you just share a stage, it's equalize. It's like, no, like you're 20 years old. You have no idea what the world's like.
Yeah.
Guess what? I've thought like you once.
Yeah.
And you're wrong, but you'll figure it out. But like until then, just don't cause too much damage.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they'll have like that So Raven moment every once in a while where it's like, holy shit. Like, maybe I was wrong. Like,
yeah.
Because, maybe being super liberal isn't the right way to go.
Well, there's like, it's like kids are, that's the awkward thing with kids is like, they're always, and I remember being this way, like you get to this, like this period of time where like, I don't know, 19 to like 25, where you're like, you really think, well, there's like 19 to like 22 where you're like, this is how it is. And then like 23 to 25 is like this like false growth where you think that you've learned stuff and you're like, oh, now I really know. But then like once you get your 30s, you look back, you're like, no, you were still a fucking idiot, dude. Yeah. But it's like impossible. It's impossible to like communicate that effective. Like kids are never going to like, or at least I've never seen a kid like accept that and be like, oh yeah, you know what? You're probably right. I probably am pretty dumb and like I'm going to learn. Like, no, of course they're going to think that they know.
Yeah. You just got to push them. Cause if they just like submit to you, you're like, oh my God, you know everything. It's like, well, now you're just listening to one other person. It's like, yeah, it's all part of the process of getting your own way of thinking. But some like the way that kids think now, I can't imagine thinking like that when I was that age though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's pretty, the kids
like
now,
they're all communists.
Yeah. They're like very rigid
Socialist
in like like they're very rigid in their ideology. Whereas before, I think when I was younger, like, it's not that there was no ideology or political viewpoint that like I would have that I was like pretty solid on, but it's like I feel like I wasn't like almost like religious about it, right? It was just kind of like, well, this is what I think, and this is like some people that I follow, and I strongly believe this. But it wasn't so dug in to where I couldn't hear an outside voice challenge it. I would just, if someone challenged it, I would be willing to have that debate, and I would like fiercely debate it, but like I'd be open to the conversation. It feels like now the conversation is like shut off, where it's like, oh no, this isn't even open for a debate. Where we can't have a conversation about it. It's just, this is what it is. I'm right, you're wrong. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you can almost look at some of those people then too and be like, well, you don't like Trump, but you love Biden, but you don't think Biden's never done anything wrong. Trump was Hitler. Yeah. We're in like 3 different wars right now.
Yeah.
There was none when Trump was in, but Trump is the worst. I get it.
Yeah.
It's like they're going to be, Roe versus Wade. They're going to be Palestine. They're going to be Ukraine. And it's like, wait, are Ukrainians the one doing all the war crimes too? No. And it's like, it's all this. And then it's like the Israel-Palestine stuff. And they're usually like very left-leaning. So they're a lot of pride. It's like, do you know what the Hamas and the Muslims would do to the left?
Yeah.
It's like you guys would not get along, but you're just doing this to counter. And this is so exhausting because it's like everything, you're so entrenched. And it's usually those voices too that piss you off right away when you hear like a conflicting thing than you. That's the one that gets you. That's what I've noticed. Like people that I don't click with right away, that I almost feel like animosity towards, or I feel it towards me from them. Right. Usually who you become, not animosity, I should say, but you feel like a tension between people. Yeah. Usually those are becoming your like good friends. Those become your like best friends in whatever scene.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the people that, I don't know if I've ever really clicked with anybody right from the beginning and just been friends with them.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if I'm saying that right or not, but it's like, no, I don't know. People with like different viewpoints than you are usually one that will break you down, and then you're not going to change your view, but you can, divert it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's like because it's like if you can get along, if you like somebody to the point where like their different viewpoints or whatever like don't turn you away, like if you can like have like a little bit of a debate and then like you still come back and be like, let's get a beer or whatever, right? It's like if at that point it's like, well then there's nothing else that's going to be because you've already gotten over this like hurdle of like this weird contention potential there to happen, like this tension area. And it's like, if you break through that, like, oh, okay, well, then we can be like solid friends, not just like fake friends. Like, we can be like real friends.
Yeah.
Because like there's a danger of like having this like shallow friendship with somebody where like you never actually talk about anything real.
It's the alt scene.
Yeah, basically. And then like it's just like
left.
if there's any like thing that comes up, all of a sudden the whole thing shatters because it wasn't ever really real. It was just kind of like this surface level
holding
thing.
on to this ideal. Like, the way it should be is like, there should be a free Palestine.
Right.
Nothing else matters except for if you believe that there's a free Palestine too. It's like, there's a lot of different things going on, and that just you're a Trump or aren't. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
the weirdest, I'm not going to get too political, but the weirdest thing about the Israel-Palestine thing is that like people that are like, yeah, free Palestine, they're like the Palestinians are getting screwed over or whatever. There's this weird thing where they see like what Israel does and they're like, I can't believe, like the attitude's like, I can't believe these people are like just for no reason doing it. It's like, it's not for no reason, dude. Like there's like, I don't care what side you fall on and being like of supporting one side versus the other more. Nobody, unless you're a moron, can look at it and be like, well, this one side just was an aggressor for no reason, and then the other side, it's like, no, they both have been fucking at each other for fucking decades and decades,
Abraham.
For centuries, whatever, right? It's like, it's been going on forever. Like, this is not
the story of it.
What's that?
Do you know like the whole story?
I don't feel like I do. No, I've heard bits and pieces of different points in time. It's okay. I'm going to do my best to
story, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, sure. No,
like going all the way back to then.
Right. No, I think so. Here's like the more modern history that I think I know. This is me like trying to like put piece together from stuff I've heard from people. Like, so okay, so basically, Palestinians had all this, like, there's this certain land that they occupied, whatever, that was, theirs or something, right? A bunch of Jews were, persecuted, obviously, in World War II and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
They were,
persecuted, yes.
that's a wild thing to say to a bunch of Jews to say it like that.
The Holocaust happened.
Yeah, the Holocaust happened, or maybe, I don't know, did it? But, no, so the Holocaust happened, right? And so they like all had to like, a bunch of Jews had fled from different countries, right, or whatever, and then like Israel like was kind of like the modern like Israel as we know it was kind of like basically them converging on like this is like their place to like avoid any persecution, like this is like a Jewish state kind of like, right?
Yeah.
And then there some stuff happened back and forth, yada yada. They kind of like took over some area that was previously Palestine or whatever, right? And then they kind of were like, hey, fuck you. And then like this big conflict has been going ever since then, where it's like, hey, this was our land, and then they're like, yeah, but you guys are like fucking attacking us and doing crazy shit, and we're just trying to be safe over here. But then they're like, now you've got like modern day, I don't know, Hamas. I feel like I could be wrong. I'm guessing Hamas is more of a newer organization, like more modern. I don't think they've been around for like a long time. But, obviously they then committed this crazy terrorist attack. And then obviously Israel's like, what the fuck? And they're like, retaliating from that. And then you have this weird thing going on where people are like, hey, whoa, what are you doing? It's like, well, you committed a crazy terrorist attack. What do you think we're doing? Yeah, of course we're going to like respond. We're not going to just like,
and it's like they're 9/11.
Do that.
Like,
yeah.
Ben, I can't say his last name, whatever, but the prime minister is like, did he let it happen?
Oh, okay.
Just so that they could do this thing with Gaza now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
And it's a whole, Then it's like you start rethinking 9/11. You're like, oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they did know something about it because it's like, I don't know.
Jesus.
But
yeah.
Well, so the Palestinians are, I don't think you get in trouble for saying that, but they like, seem like they're the Jews of the Islam world. Not the Jews.
Sure.
That sounds terrible. But
yeah,
like,
no. They're like
nobody will take them.
Yeah.
But it's such a big deal.
Yeah.
But
I know what you mean.
The thing I like about it all too is you look back to like the Bible. And I'm not super religious or anything like that, but if like you start with Abraham was the father of all the three religions, right? The Christianity, Judaism, Islam.
Right.
So like they did their thing in the desert and they ended up in Jerusalem, I want to say, or Israel.
hang on. They did their thing in the desert.
Yeah. Like he was in the city of Ur. He knew how things worked. So
Sure. Okay.
So he's like this very powerful guy.
Yeah.
And then like his wife was Sarah, I think. And she couldn't have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
But then they had I want to say like the slave girl or whatever, but Haggard was her name. They had a baby.
Wait, what was her name?
Haggard.
Haggard?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do I say? And then they had a baby named Ishmael, who was going to be like the oldest son of Abraham, right? He was going to but then as soon as that happened, I guess it was a couple years later, Sarah got pregnant too. So then they banished the Haggard and Ishmael out of the camp of Jerusalem, right? Out of their tribe. So like that happened. Mm-hmm. And then who was the father of Israel then? Was Joseph or something like that, or Jacob? Mm-hmm. I forget who the son was. I think it was Jacob.
For the son? Yeah, maybe. That sounds right.
Like the father of Christianity, then Abraham, somebody else, it became the father of Christianity. Or Judaism, I want to say. Yeah, it would be King David, right? The father of Judaism. I could be wrong about all this. But so they banished Ishmael. He became like Islam. Mm-hmm. That's who Muhammad took over. And then
Muhammad Patel?
Yeah. Patel, yeah. And then who do you call it? The other guy became the Judaism or whatever. But Abraham said something like the world is going to end when the tribe of Israel gets connected or something like that. Because there's there's 12 tribes of Israel, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And then one of them was not part of it. And that's supposed to be like Palestine now. And so it's like once Palestine gets rid of it, like everybody's going to hate the Jews because they killed all the Palestinians. And then like the world's going to end because like even the U.S. will turn on Israel and stuff like that if they
I gotcha.
Exterminate like all of Palestine.
Right.
But then you like dig a bit deeper back and it's like in Jerusalem there's the mosque, that big mosque right in the middle of Jerusalem, which a lot of the Jewish scholars now want to like destroy and make into like the temple again, or like the Tower of David, or whatever that was, the tower, the third tower, which is gonna be like the sign like for the coming of Christ again.
Right.
So it's like all this shit, and it's like holy shit. But then you got somebody just yelling like "Free Palestine."
Yeah.
It's like this goes so far back. It's so crazy to me. It's like, especially when I get high, I start thinking about it, I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. This is so biblical. I probably messed up saying all that, but it's kind of crazy because you zoom back and it's like this has been going on for like thousands and thousands of years.
Right.
But then you like zoom in, zoom out, zoom out. I don't know, it's just weird. Then somebody just yells at you for not supporting Palestine. It's like, okay, it's very complicated, guys.
Yeah. That's, I like that. I like that breakdown. And then, you zoom out and it's like, and someone's just like, free Palestine, fuck you. It's like, okay, that's a pretty simple take compared to like, this whole history that's been going on or whatever. And like, that's your only takeaway. Like, that's it. It's just that. Yeah.
Well, it's like Russia and Ukraine. Like, Vladimir Putin's so bad. It's like, he is. But then you look at it from his point of view, it's like he's just protecting what's supposed to be his,
right,
or theirs, or whatever. And it's like, there's so much. It's like I couldn't point to Ukraine on a map like 2 years ago. Yeah, I had no idea where it was. I just didn't know it was such a big place, like such a fertile. And it's like, I don't know. There's just so much stuff but then people be so close, quick to yell at you and stuff like that. You don't agree with them. It's like, all right, this is not going anywhere.
No, damn.
But. Yeah, we say all that to say we support the Jews.
Oh. Yeah. I
I'm just kidding.
Very strong for Israel. I'm very hard for Israel right now. Rock hard. So I guess
semi-hard for Palestine.
What's that?
Semi-hard for Palestine.
Yeah.
They got a few things going for them.
Yeah, I had a wet dream about Palestine last night.
Yeah,
but today I'm like hard for Israel. Yeah, so I'm gonna both sides this.
Deep blue chew for Israel.
Blue chew for Israel. Yeah.
Yeah, went by pretty quick though.
Yeah, went by real quick. Damn.
Yeah. I'm gonna look back and like explain the Israel thing for like 20 minutes.
It probably that felt like it was probably like 5 to 7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. But we're gonna look back and it'll be like that was 40 minutes of the podcast was just talking about Israel and Palestine.
How sweet Jesus. The Jews are. Yeah. It was kind of funny though. I was watching The Valley of Tears. I think is on Amazon Prime. It's about the Yom Kippur War in 1973. I want to say with Israel and Syria and I don't know some of those. It was like a couple years after the 6 Day War, but they gave like the main Israeli characters like the gayest list voice. So it was so funny. They're like getting attacked. It's like I can't even do it, but you'll have to watch it. But it was just like very strange. Like everybody has like these manly voices, and all of a sudden this guy's a very high pitched lisp. I want to say. It was
Good Lord.
It was funny to watch.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's much going on this week. You got much?
No, not really. I just regular, just the mics and just doing work and just every day is going to be just normal. The only thing I have going on personally coming up is that speedkeeping competition on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
It's this next Saturday in Ankeny.
Ankeny, okay,
yeah,
nice.
Algs and Ankeny. That's what it's called.
What's it called?
Algs and Ankeny, like
Algs?
algorithms.
Oh, algorithm. Okay. Nice.
Algs and Ankeny.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be fun. But comedy's pretty quiet for me at the moment. Just working stuff out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice. I kind of like it's fun to like get booked on shows, and like I like having a lot of shows going on. Like that's cool. But then also sometimes if there's too many shows, and I know I'm going to have to just, if I want to keep getting better at comedy, like eventually I'm going to have to work out this whole thing where like that is going to be this balanced like line I'll have to walk of like constantly having material that I like feel like is good for a show, but like also working out stuff. It'll be like this thing where I'm always doing both at the same time.
Yeah.
But currently I have the luxury of like, there are dry spells like now where like I'm not booked on anything for a little while. And then so I kind of have some time to just focus on just like working new stuff and just like trying stuff, which is kind of cool, I guess, to have that too, I guess.
Yeah. Trying it out and all that.
Yeah.
That's what we should talk about next episode too then. So we know like how to come up with material or how you come up with material.
We should do that. Yeah. We should talk about coming up with new material, writing, whatever, blah, 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 all the joke process or something. Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
How it comes up and stuff. So yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, I don't have much going on either. I got a new job starting tomorrow, and hopefully I don't get pulled up on stage by some jacked Andy Elliott making me take my shirt off.
Yeah.
Make me feel bad. So should be a good week though. So,
yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, thanks again, Zach. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Sorry I had to see that.